Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I certainly hope you're having a fine day. Okay, exactly what this video file is about is a review or my opinions and observations on this Dean Vintage ML 4-string electric bass, or technically it's a Dean DGB MLBX. You'll want to remember those numbers. And I'm doing this video because there's no videos on YouTube about this particular bass, and I just bought this thing for craps and giggles, for a fun kind of a bass, if you will. You know what I mean? Just a goof off bass. And here it is. And of course, as everybody knows, if you've been around the music world, this body style was made famous by Dimebag Darrell Abbott of the group Pantera. Okay, and the name of the fellow that used to have Dean his name is Dean Zielinski, I believe. If I want to double check me on that. Okay, let's stop BSing here and burning daylight and get right into this. Okay, this has got your big winged headstock right there. This neck is maple, okay? Right off the bat, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to call this a thin neck, and it's definitely not a baseball neck, okay? It's just a standard C neck, and it's solid maple. There's no lamination in it. As a matter of fact, I don't even see any lamination up here around this headstock. You know how they do that. And this is a Korean product, of course. I got the lead on this particular bass through reverb.com, and I got it for a $300 bill shipped to my door from Boston Guitar, not with an S, bostonguitar.com. Okay, these tuners right here, I have no idea they're die-cast tuners, they're sealed tuners, but it doesn't say Grover or Gotay or any of that on there. I've had this bass for a couple of weeks now and played the crap out of it, and these tuners actually hold tune pretty doggone good. I figured something was going to be ultra cheap on this bass when I got it, but so far, I'm not seeing a lot of problems. You're going to see ML on that truss rod cover right there, okay, in case you want to identify one of these. And the serial number on that headstock is right there, right in the middle. I'm working alone here, so I hope you can see that. Okay, going on down the fretboard here. This fretboard is rosewood, if you will. I measured it with a set of calibers at 3/16 of an inch thick. It does have dots, reference dots along the edge there, if you can see that. The reference dots here on this fretboard, this rosewood fretboard, is abalone dots, okay? There are 24 frets on this guy, okay? And research showed me that Dean produced this bass right here between 1998 and 2010. It is no longer in production. So if you find one online, if you find one kicked underneath a bed or in somebody's closet or in a pawn shop, buy it. Simple as that, because this is not a production model, Dean bass. It isn't. They've got other ones called their Metal Man series and that, but that's not this bass right here. Okay, if you'll take notice, here's your cover right here, ladies and gentlemen, to get into your pods for the switches, but these are totally passive pickups. There is no EQ whatsoever in this bass. And actually, I felt for sure when I bought this that one of the first things I was going to have to do was change out this. It's got a PJ pickup configuration. In other words, these are precision split single coils right here and a jazz pickup in the bridge. Okay, precision up here in the neck, jazz pickup right there. These are made by Dean, and these pickups really surprised me. They've got a lot of output. I don't really want to call it a rough output, but they don't mess around, And this bridge right here, ladies and gentlemen, it's a standard 5-hole Fender bridge. It's a what they call a vintage bridge. The strings stop right there, but they're hidden inside like the old vintage bridges used to be. And I can't find anything wrong with that bridge because I figured I was going to have to change this bridge out. I figured, I just bought this as kind of a fun little guitar, if you will, something to mess around with, something maybe to hot rod up. Well, it plays well. It's already hot rodded up all by itself. Okay? And let's see, what else do I want to talk about? Okay, this is solid basswood on this soundboard. There's no, we don't have any fancy purpling. The neck is not lined or any of that. And of course, on the headstock, you got the famous old Dean wings there, and all that. And okay, what else do I want to talk about here for a second? And right here, of course, I got to be careful because that's one thing about this. I'll stop for a second. This bass has a tendency to be a lot longer because of these wings here, than a lot of other basses. So you have a tendency to bang into things, from say from these big wings here to these bottom wings here. So you might want to take, note of that fact. Okay. And of course your patch cord, your instrument 1/4-inch patch cord goes in right there. The way these electronics work on this, let me just run through this real quick and I'll play it or strum along. I'm not going to get into playing a bunch of songs with them. But this top knob pod right here, that's what activates and turns on these two split precision coils right here, these single coils. This guy in the middle right here is what turns on and activates this jazz. And yes, these can be played together. This jazz pickup, I meant to say right there, that goes for the middle one, this middle knob right here. And this bottom knob right here is for tone, high and low. Right now I've got it set for right in the middle. Okay, and what I'll do here is I'll plug this thing in. Let me back this. I'll back the jazz bass or the jazz pickup all the way, and I'll turn this up like this. Now let me grab this patch cord here, plug this guy in. Now this is going to sound a lot worse than the guitar really sounds, just because I'm working in close proximity to everything. Okay? Now right now, like I say, I have the... Okay, this is the split singles right here, and let me crack it open about halfway. I mean, the output on this is just crazy. It really is. For passive pickups, I just could not believe the output. This is cranked up all the way. This is going to get really rattly. Okay, now let me back this off. And let me open up this jazz pickup right here. Okay, that's about halfway. Okay, let me open her up all the way. Like I say, here's your tone right here. It basically, all the way back is low, if I'm not mistaken, and all the way over to the right here is treble. Let me check it. Yeah, see? So there you are. I don't know if you liked what you were hearing there. Okay, let me crank this about halfway up. Let me take this. Okay, both pickups are about 50%, okay? And there you are with that, ladies and gentlemen. Now let me just grab my CRS, can't remember squat card here. I give $300 for this brand new from BostonGuitar.com. Oh yeah, I weighed this particular piece right here at 8.5 pounds, give or take 2 ounces one way or the other, because I was using an old set of fish scales. Okay, in my massive research on this particular bass right here, I found 4 or 5 price lists, everywhere from 2004, I think I found a 2005, a 2007, and a 2008. Remember what I said a little while ago? They produced this between 1998 and 2010. Okay, but this was listed for $465 at one time when it was in production. It does have a 34-inch scale on this neck right here. 24 frets, I know I already said that. I already talked about the pickup configuration and the knobs. Okay, let's see. Well, and that's about it. Oh, I did trace the serial number on this guy. This particular bass that you see me with right here was produced in 2009. I like it though. I thought I was going to have to change a whole bunch of stuff on this bass, but not so. The only thing that ever went wrong so far is these knobs kept coming loose on me. And what I did is I found out if you turn in that set screw, you know how, ladies and gentlemen, you know how these switches are. Them shafts that come out, they're usually split. Okay, if you put the knob with the screw right down one of the channels of the split and then sink it in, it'll lock that knob down a lot better, okay? And other than that, though, I haven't found anything. I mean anything, wrong with this particular bass at all. It's quite a unique bass. It's got a real raw, kind of a loud sound. It definitely doesn't sound quite as good or finicky or whatever you want to call it as my ESP LTD. But hey, for a $300 bill, what I'm trying to tell you, if you're a young and up and coming bassist, or even if you're an old guy like me or whatever have you, buy it. If you find one in a pawn shop or you whatever, just buy the doggone thing. Even if you got to do a little work to it, so what? Because that's one thing I might want to say. Because this is a standard, it's got standard holes for like a Fender 5-screw bridge, okay? There's a lot of replacement bridges out there. I looked all this stuff up, by the way. These pickups can be replaced, and if you don't like these stock tuners right here, they can be replaced. It's just that doggone simple. Okay, that's about all I got to say. I like this bass a lot. It's kind of a funny looking thing. It's kind of a clumsy thing, but it's not real heavy, and so there you are. So that's my review, ladies and gentlemen. Jump, jibe, and wail, and have a good day. Take care of yourselves, and thanks for watching the video.